Let's take a look at IC number 18 and see what the answers are, how to do them, and hopefully help people find a few mistakes that they've made. I've got the tips up here. They're not rules, but it's just suggestions. Anytime that you don't have common denominators, see if you can make the smaller denominator into the bigger denominator. I can't make 3 into a 5, so what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the second tip, and that's where we take the bottom denominators, like this bottom denominator of 5, and we're going to multiply the other fraction by it. And then where we take the this denominator here, this 3, and go to the other fraction over here, and multiply it by 3. And that gets us 12 over 15 and 10 over 15. And now we can subtract. So since we have common denominators, it'll be 2/15. Since I can't make the 4 into a 5, we're going to take this 5 and multiply this fraction by it. And we're going to take this 4 over here and multiply it. Now we can subtract. And unfortunately, we have an improper fraction. So what we're going to have to do is take this top number right here and put it inside of the division box. And then we're going to take the bottom number, the denominator, and put that on the outside and say, how many times does 20 go into 21? In this case, it goes in once, and we've got 1 left over. Remember, this answer up here, your whole number, is going to be based on your answer. It goes on top of the division. Whatever's left over, this is your new numerator. That's your top number of the fraction. So this whole number right here will be 1. The new numerator will be 1. And then you keep your same denominator that you had. And it'd be 1 and 1/20th. This one's a little bit different, but you should be able to handle it. Now, since this is a whole number and this is a fraction, we've got a couple of different ways to do it. I think we're just going to set it up like this, 2 minus 5/4. That's one way to do it. And we're going to borrow from the 2 and leave 1 there. And then this 1 right here, that 1 is going to be turned into 4 over 4. And then we see we've got another issue right there. So why don't we go and borrow this last remaining 1? That leaves 0 left right there. And we'll add this 1 to the 4 over 4. So what's that going to become? This 1 is going to become 4 over 4 again. Hang on. And that would be the same as 8/4. Slide that 5/4 underneath it to do the subtraction. What's 8 minus 5? It's 3/4. So that's one way. That's one way. But there's always more than one way. So let's take a look at this one. If you don't like setting it up for that whole number to be able to borrow to create the fraction and then have to borrow again to make that fraction bigger than down here, if you don't like that, how about we take a look at this? How do we make any whole number into a fraction? We put a 1 under it. So now we're going to take this 1 and ask ourselves, can I make this 1 into the 4? We sure can. Multiply it by 4, multiply the top by 4, and we get 8 over 4 minus the 5/4. 8/4 minus 5/4 is 3/4. So take your pick, but either way you're going to get 3 over 4. improper fraction. Remember, this number right here is going to become your whole number. Anything left over becomes the new part of the fraction. And always keep your original denominator. So there's your answer, 3 1/6. When we get to the mixed numbers, I like to treat the whole number separate from the fraction. So can I make the 9 into a 10? No. So I'm going to multiply this fraction up here by 9. And then I'm going to multiply this fraction down here by the 10. Now, thankfully, we're adding, so 9 plus 80 is 89. Okay, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So 3 and 89/90ths. Remember, this is addition. It's not subtraction, so we just got to get common denominators here. I'm going to make both of them into 6. So this will be 5/6. We had a 0 sitting here, so 0 plus 1 is 1. So 1 and 5/6. If you're careful, you don't have to make it into 36 because we're always checking, hey, can we make the smaller denominator into the larger denominator? In this case, I sure can. I just multiply it by 4. So this is going to be 8/12. And this is 7/12 over here, okay? So I'm kicking that over so we can see it. Unfortunately, it is subtraction, so we're going to have to borrow. 7 is bigger than 8. So let's borrow 1 from the 4. And that means we're going to have to stuff this 1 into this 7/12 fraction. And all that means is that that 1 would be best served to be written as 12/12. Well, 7 plus 12 is 19. Keep the same bottom denominator. Now we can push over this 8/12 to just kind of line it up for us. 19 minus 8 is 11. Keep the same denominator, 12. And now make sure that you wrote this down as a 3. That 4 is no longer there. It's a 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. So 1 and 11/12. Same thing here. I can make this 2 into that 4 by just multiplying it by 2. So that would be 2/4. Push this one on over. It's 3/4. We can go ahead and add. So 2 plus 3 is 5/4. And 4 plus 5 is 9. Well, here's the issue. We're never allowed to end with an improper fraction. So let's set it up. It goes in once, and 1 is left over. So this is your whole number 1. This is your numerator 1. And we keep the same denominator of 4. But remember, this 9 is still sitting there. It's just we've turned this 5/4 into 1 1/4. So what do we do with the 9 and 1? We add them. So it's 10 1/4. Last one. Again, can you make the smaller denominator into the bigger one? Yep. So this will be 3/6. Push that 1/6 out so we can kind of line it up a little better. 1 plus the 3 is 4. And here's 4 plus 2. So that's going to be a 6. Careful though. Be very, very careful. This 4/6 is not simplified. We can divide both of them by 2. So it really becomes 6 2/3. There's your answer.